Hi, everyone. Welcome to Beyond the Gates weekly recap for week 48 of the best soap opera on television. A lot happened this week on Gates. Jacob undercover trying to get evidence against the people who are running the plasma scam, the blood plasma scheme. His and Smitty's informant wants to quit because of the ringleader found out that there is a leak and beat one of the couriers within an inch of his life, and then dumped his body outside of Garland Memorial, where Ashley and Shanice, along with a doctor, I would assume, were able to save his life. Nicole, we've seen an odd turn with the character of Nicole. She has turned into this, she was very prim and proper when the show debuted a year ago. She was married to Ted. And now we see a different Nicole. She's dating two different men. She's now dating Kyle. She's dating Carlton. And it's quite the turn for this character. More on that later. Chelsea decided that she would go to Copenhagen with Madison and spend the year there while Madison does her fellowship. Kat, of course, did not take it well because, that would interfere with their business. And I can understand Kat in a way, but Kat's also selfish and only thinks about herself. Why should she want her cousin to be happy? So Chelsea then goes, she talks to Anita about it. And even though Anita was shocked by the information, she encouraged her. And of course, Chelsea was kind of shocked when she got to the Grand's house because Anita had a different hairstyle. Her hair was falling out because of the cancer. And so on, I believe it was Monday's show, Danny helped her with a new shorter hairstyle. Chelsea did have a change of heart after meeting with her Gran, and then going and talking to Kat again, and she told Madsen she could not go with her. And Madsen said we can have a long distance relationship. But on Friday, today, in a big moment of the show, Chelsea asked Madison to marry her, and Madison said yes. I think that hopefully they'll have the wedding, and I think that Chelsea will move with Madison to Copenhagen for her 1-year fellowship because Ronnie Rose Mantilla, who portrays Chelsea, has decided to leave the show. So about 1 year, after the show debuted, she's worked on it a year, and now she's decided to leave the show and pursue other interests. There's no word whether they're going to recast the role of Chelsea, or maybe they hope in the future that she'll return. That's going to be a tough job to replace Mantilla, though, because she has done a great job in the role of Chelsea. So moving on, Anita had lunch with Samantha and Jessica, Terrell's girlfriend. They were discussing the debutante ball. And of course, the nosiest person at the Fairmount Crest Country Club, Anastasia, shows up and starts harassing Anita. But Anita gave it right back to her. You know, she tried to say, well, you don't come from money, Anita. And Anita pretty much said, well, yeah, that's why I'm a nicer person than you. And they went back and forth. And Anastasia's all up in a bunch because she's worried that her granddaughter won't win Deb of the Year. Well, you know what? Hopefully she won't. She's a real snob, this Anastasia. She's just not a nice person. So, but, you know, I think and what Anita did was, you know, she showed Samantha and Jessica how to stand up for themselves to a snob like Anastasia. You know, Shanice and Ted ran into Nicole and Kyle when they were at Uptown. Nicole was rather rude to Ted when Ted asked if Carlton knew that she was dating Kyle. But as they're having drinks, Ted can't keep his eyes off Nicole, and Shanice is annoyed, so she says, "Let's leave." When they get back to Ted's apartment or his hotel suite, and Shanice finds panties in Ted's room, and she's livid. And he explains that he thinks he wouldn't be surprised if Leslie planted them there. And Shanice does leave for the night. She's feeling like Ted is not over Nicole, and she doesn't want to be second fiddle to anyone. So immediately after she leaves, Ted leaves, and he goes to the club where Leslie is, and he rips her apart. He tears her apart. In no uncertain terms, he tells her, stay away from him. And definitely don't go in my hotel room. So, you know, at first, Ava's like, he's thinking she should take her mom's side, but then she realizes how ridiculous her mom is. You know, and she later has dinner, I guess, with Isaiah, and she tells him, and you know, he realizes, like, yeah, she's crazy. And but Isaiah also turned down Danny from modeling, and you know, he just said he didn't have time for it. He's very dedicated to his students and his role as a counselor at Banneker. So he told her he worked really hard to get to that point, and he wishes that, you know, maybe at some other point he can model. But Derek and Ashley had a very contentious interaction in that restaurant that I have no idea what the name is. I don't know. Is that the restaurant in the hotel? I don't know. They've never said what this restaurant is. It's got a couple tables, and I don't know. I don't know where it is. They don't tell. They don't give a name or anything. But they had a meeting there. They ran into each other, I guess you could say. I still say Derek's stalking her. Derek tries to convince her that Grayson is a bad guy with no proof. So, of course, Ashley just thought he was being, you know, an idiot. But then Grayson and Ashley meet up later, and they go back to Ashley's place, you know, and they're making out. They're ready to, you know. And Grayson gets an odd text and says he has to leave. And he can't tell Ashley why. So it's what is Grayson hiding? It's going to be interesting to see. I'm going to guess that Grayson has like a sick relative somewhere that sometimes he has to go and take care of. That's my thinking. I could be way off on that, but excuse me. Oh my goodness. But I think that's what it is. I think he's got a sick relative somewhere. And so Martin and Vernon talked about the campaign, and Vernon pretty much admitted that he misses campaigning. So that's pretty much, that. I really think that, it's, I don't know. How do you feel? Do you think they should recast Chelsea, or should they just leave her go and then maybe recast her at a later date, or hope that Ronnie Rose Mantilla wants to come back? I wonder. They've done such a good job casting on this show, and they've only replaced one person so far. Ted was replaced. That's it. And I think that, they have a really good cast. I don't know. Do you want to recast that role? Chelsea's such a likable character. I would hate to see another person come in and play the role and not be as likable. A lot of times the writing does have to do with that. But if you don't like the actress, or actor, right away if they're going to fit. If you think they're terrible, there's a good chance everybody thinks they're terrible, and they get replaced. I was looking something up the other day, and the character of Kelly Capwell came up. And, she was originally played by Robin Wright Penn, who is now Robin Wright again. And then it was played by Kelly MacArthur. I'm not sure how long Kelly MacArthur played this role, but, I'm going to put it kindly. She was god-awful in the role. She was disgusting. She was bad. What a bad actress. I don't know what the producers and casting director of Santa Barbara should have lost their job. So that's the thing. Santa Barbara, they had a lot of, casting redos on that show. But that's what I think about this show, is they only had to recast one character, which is crazy. It really is. But we're going to have more with Anita. Andre was urging Danny to take a modeling job today. It sounds like there's going to be a standoff between him and Bill. So that'll be interesting too. I'm taking Andre in that one. Even though Bill's bigger, I'm still taking Andre in that one. And there was a preview of a scene, and Haley gets punched by her con man friend. So that'll be interesting to see how that works out. And now Haley isn't able to poison Bill as much because they've gotten rid of the tea that she kept giving him. So it's going to be interesting when his blood work changes. They'll know it's the tea. And if they can't figure out why it's the tea, then they're going to wonder what's going on. So I don't know how long Haley is for this show. I mean, I don't care when they get rid of her, because she's an annoying character. but I think that I think eventually she'll be gone because, you're going to kill. She's trying to kill somebody. And I think eventually she'll be gone. And I even think that Leslie, Trisha Mann Grant, she's got to get caught eventually for the things she's done, right? I don't think they write her off the show, but she's definitely going to get in some sort of trouble for the things she's done. Who knows? Maybe she'll have to use all her money for her defense, and then she won't have any money anymore. I worried about Jacob with the undercover assignment that he's gone on, and it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. Just like in real life, who knows who they're going to kill off. If somebody kills off, is his character a long-term character that they've planned on this show, or is he just a short-term? So maybe Naomi can have another husband at some point. I don't know. What are they going to do with Chelsea? I think that, most of these shows have a Bible, like 5 years or something, scoped out and planned out. So I would have to think that they're going to recast Naomi or Chelsea because they've had these storylines planned out for years. And I mean, so sure, sometimes they have to change them, but I think that Ronnie Rose Mantilla has done such a good job as Chelsea. That's a character you don't want to get rid of. But we'll see, you just never know on a soap opera. And this show's had twists, Haley was we didn't know Haley was a con man for probably the first 7 months the show was on. Or a con woman. We didn't know that her marriage to Bill was a fraud just so she's trying to get Bill's money. And that she's done this before. So that's going to be interesting to find out. There's always plot twists on soap operas. Some are developed slowly, some are not. If we start seeing more nurses, I'm telling you, let's watch this. Let's watch this. If we start seeing more nurses, female nurses, if we start seeing more other like women at the hospital that have, maybe a role for 2-3 days, then Grayson or Derek is a serial killer. I'm telling you, that's how that could go too. Every soap needs a serial killer at some point. And Beyond the Gates hasn't had it yet. We're just going to be a year in a couple weeks. But serial killers are good on soap operas. They increase the ratings. So, but I think that's going to be it today. I think we've covered pretty much everything that happened this week. And sorry we had to be on late tonight. I had a bowling match to commentate for my local team, high school team. But we'll be back at our normal time next week. Next week on Friday the 13th. So until next Friday, I hope everybody has a great week. I know it's still cold in pretty much everywhere in the country, and I hope everybody can stay warm. But until next week, hopefully I see you somewhere around Fairmount Crest.